other people are seeing. And I thought some good takeaways from Caden there.
Yeah, and a lot of Darius Cooper love. I think BLG is the ground floor of Darius Cooper love, by the way. I think he was the first one who proclaimed Darius was a good player last year. So we got to give him some pats on the back for that, because
You think it's realistic to think that they do more of a rotational role at receiver?
Not unless there's injury to the top three.
Really? You think the top three are that defined?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, certainly Devontae is. Certainly Dontavian is. The only one that there's some concern over is Mekhi, and they're going to give him up every opportunity. Just Eagles are not alone in that mentality in the NFL, but yeah, it is what it is.
Well, how would you project it in terms of like who fits where? Like we talk often about, oh, is Cooper or Lemon the three? Lemon's the three, but like just for the sake of the conversation. But doesn't
I think it's more of XZ play.
That's what I mean. Like, doesn't Cooper project more outside, whereas Lemon right now is projecting all inside? Like how do you?
Well, no. I mean, if you just boil it down to what they do best, Wicks would be the X, Devontae would be the Z, and Lemon would be the slot guy. But Devontae can do anything, and the hope is that Mekhi develops into more than just a slot. Cooper's moved around quite a bit, so he's played multiple positions. He's really not. He's only 5'11", so you don't want to play him a ton at X. But he can move in the slot. He's moved inside and outside. Moore's moved inside and outside, but is best suited for the slot. Just because of some size issues. And then Hollywood Brown is too nondescript to talk, but he's going to be here unless they trade him. Yeah. So a lot of fours in the rotation.
That's right. I do think the scheme's going to come into play.
I think you got a 1. I think you got an ace. And Devontae, you got a 3, and Dontavian and Wicks, and a bunch of 4s. That's my baseball rotation talk for those who are not understanding.
So Dontavian will slide to the 2, which is in your eyes too high for where he should be.
Yeah. I mean, you'd rather have a more impactful 2. But, you build on what you have.
Does that mean that Jalen Hurts has to technically be better or bear more of the burden this year?
No, I think it makes it more difficult on Sean. I do think you have to scheme guys open more, as opposed to, all right, that guy can win. Like, I think people look at that as a negative. I think I'm the opposite. If you have to scheme guys open, that's a negative. The best example is Lane and Jordan Mailata for years. I don't got a fucking scheme around them. Let them, they're on an island. You know how much that helps me as a coordinator? Not having I got to have the running back chip here. I got to have the tight end. I got to give this guy. You know how much that bucks up in offense? When you have guys you don't worry about, that makes your job so much easier as a coordinator. When you have to start, well, he's got to scheme guys up. I mean, think about the sentiment behind that statement. You want a guy on the sideline to make the players better, which is, okay, yeah. The goal of coaching is to get them a little bit higher than where they would go on their own. That's the goal of coaching from a holistic view as a teacher. fundamentals, technique, things like that. If you have to, that's why you see like maybe a jet sweep works because you surprise the defense. But if you do it 4 or 5 times, all of a sudden it looks like shit. You throw a tunnel screen, a smoke screen, whatever, wide receiver screen, whatever you want to call it. You might hit it occasionally. The other 10 times it looks like shit. If one of my favorite West Coast staples from the standpoint of is the high-low read with the quarterback waggle, where you're cut off one side of the field. That usually works in the scripted portion. And then when you get in the game and you start to get repetitive, it's the easiest thing in the world to shut down. You see the linebacker, if you're watching the over, he'll just go because he knows exactly. He's got 2 options basically, and it gets really repetitive and really difficult. So it's not a place you want to be consistently. You want the guys you don't have to worry about. You want the super talented guys that that are just going to perform. And the Eagles have had a lot of those guys and still have them in Saquon and Devontae.
We'll see what ends up happening this year then, Johnny Mac. Big task for Sean Mannion. We'll see what he can do out there. I'm still excited or optimistic about Saquon Barkley as well. Seems like he's had a pretty good camp, or at least looks like he's ready to have a big year. So we'll see what that looks like too, and how much pressure that might take off the passing game. Let's go to some super chats here. Brian Pumper, John, where has Pumper been? He's back.
Oh, Pumper's back. Morning, Pumper.
He says this: why are we not in the Terrion Arnold sweepstakes? We could slide Coop to safety. What does it hurt bringing him in for a workout?
Well, he wasn't very good in Detroit. Number one, obviously big name, and then he got in the trouble he got into, which is not completely. He's not completely out of the woods for. So, yeah, it doesn't surprise me they haven't. I don't think they would kick the tires if he didn't have if they just needed a corner. I don't think they'd be in that business. He wasn't good. Like, forget about the off the field. He wasn't good in Detroit. So I think that's a big name trap. Pumper's getting caught in. If you need help, let us know. You're caught in the big name trap.
Pump, thank you for the super chat. I do wonder if he'll play. Where did he work out recently? He worked out somewhere recently.
Seattle, I think,
yes,
and Saints, I believe.
Pump, thank you, man. Here's Terrence the jeweler. What's up, Terrence? He says this: J-Mac, on the spot. Are the Birds NFC champ caliber given what you've seen so far in our schedule? Is 2023 Hurts good enough if he plays at that level?
Yeah, I mean they could certainly win it. I don't think they're the best. The best team is the Rams, pretty clearly, pretty significantly from a talent standpoint. And then Seattle, and then I would probably put the Eagles. So, you get some injuries, which is going to happen. If you're the healthier team, yeah, they can make a run. Now, in the past couple of years, the Eagles have started as the favorite pretty much or close to it. They're not quite at that level anymore because the Rams have really on paper, the Rams are the best team. But, they don't play the games on paper. And the Eagles are one of the teams that could upset the Rams or the Seahawks. The Seahawks are very good as well. And they got to beat up on each other too. So that helps.
Good stuff. All right, Terrence. Appreciate the super chat.